Hello everybody, my name is Maria Mora. I am using a screencast to show you what I created from exploring the various tools that were embedded in the module. The apps that I used to create my work are OneNote, Canva, Adobe Spark, and Google Docs. So I'm going to start with OneNote. I really liked OneNote because it is an online notebook that students can use and that I also have access to looking into. It's pretty much just like a notebook. It has tabs and it has different things that the students can add. I can give them feedback, I can make comments, they can write on it, and I think it's a pretty neat tool because all of our students have their own devices and their devices are touch screens, so they can use that to also write and take notes and write on top of their work. So that way we're not really using a lot of paper either, and they have access to everything, the videos and everything that we use, and they don't have to keep up with it in their book bags. So, what the way I started is I opened up my Office 365, and these are some of the apps that I've looked into, but the one that I'm going to focus on is OneNote. So I'm actually going to click on Class Notebook, which is from OneNote, and that is what I use to create the notebook. So it has the options for us to create a notebook, add or remove students once the notebook is created, add or remove teachers, which is a good feature to add co-teachers if we have any in our classrooms, and this is to manage the notebooks that are already made. So I'm going to click on create a class notebook, and I just wanted to walk you through what I did. And on here it asks for the name of the class, then the overview, adding the teacher, the students' names. And the way we had to add the names in our district was to add the students' school ID numbers. And so we have a subscription within the Office 365 to use the class notebook, and the teachers have a subscription, and the students are somehow in the system, so all we would have to do is add their student ID numbers, and then we would have to change the names later. So this is what I did to go through it. I had to create the notebook myself to understand what it looks like and just play with it. So this is me managing the class notebook. There were some sections that were already there, like answers, class notes, handouts, homework, and quizzes. I added activities and videos just to play with it. And if you wanted to add another section, which is pretty much like another tab in their notebook, you can just do add section. So these are things we can manage ourselves. The students can add their own sections. So once I did that, then I also unlocked the collaboration space because I wanted students to collaborate with the notebook too. So once this is done, all we have to do is go on open the notebook, or we can also access the notebook by going onto OneNote, which is the app that we can put in the desktop. So this is the class that I created, and if I click on the arrow, it pops up all the different things that I can do. If you notice, these numbers right here are our student numbers, and so I didn't change them with their names because I knew I was going to create this video and I wanted to keep their names confidential. But it's easy to change if we just click on it, on the student number, and then it's just typing over it. So I'm going to show you what I added. So in the notebook, these are the different tabs that I was talking about when I created it. So they're here, the activities, the answers, the class notes, and like I said, you can add whatever tabs you want to add. So those are the ones I added. You also have the option to add them here. So when I go into the notebook, I'm going to click on Content Library, which is where I added all of the students' work. This is an easy way for me to keep up with everything that I'm embedded that I'm embedding, and I can also add tabs too if I want to keep track with like each day or whatever activity I want to use. So I added an activity. My students will be working on a cryptography assignment where they're pretty much going to use matrices to multiply them, find inverses, and within the matrices, they're going to write messages. And by working with someone else and going through this activity, they're going to be able to also decode matrices. And so they're going to work on decoding the matrix for another student. But before they decode it, they're going to have to write their own message. And so I wanted to focus on them writing their message first and using other online tools to create it, and then have the students look at the messages and then decode the matrix to find what they encrypted. So when I go on the right hand side, this was the activity. So all I did was I added the page, I titled it with activity, and I went to insert and I inserted a file printout. So this is a Word document. Then I also did, the other tool that I used was Canva. And I really liked Canva because it is a good site and a good online tool for students to use, and it gives them another way to show their presentation, and it has a lot of really neat features. So I uploaded a Canva video tutorial that I got from YouTube, which is another thing the OneNote can do by just doing and this one I didn't really have to insert anything. I just copied and pasted the link from the YouTube video. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about Canva. So with Canva, it looks like this. This is the work that I created using Canva, and this was just a sample. So the numbers represent a message, but they're not really the message that the students are going to use. They're going to use this as a matrix to decode it. And so this is pretty much like their hidden message. And so this is what I created, and the hidden message would be like happy birthday. I just made it up just to see how Canva would work. And so the students can add photos, they can use a template. So it starts, I'm going to go to home, and what I did is I did a card. This was my design. They can do a presentation, they can do a flyer, they can choose from different ones, or they can create their own. So the pictures here, these are like happy birthday cards. They could choose from a different format if that's the one they wanted to use. And see, I can click on add as a new page or replace the one I have. I'm not going to replace it for now just because I want to show you how I embedded it. And then it has the options to also add elements if I wanted to add like different things in here. And it's kind of neat because it's different, and I think the kids are going to enjoy playing with it and adding different things to it to make their projects look neat. They can add text, they can do videos, and do all backgrounds and a lot of different things. So if they wanted to share it, which I'm going to ask them to share it, all they got to do is click on share and then just copy the link, and then it says the link is copied. So when I went on OneNote, I put the sample of the Canva project, and you can upload the link, but I uploaded the picture just so they would see what it would look like. And then on the left hand side where it says collaboration space, I also created a Google Doc where I embedded the link, which I'll show you in a little bit. So the other online tool that I used was Adobe Spark. We talked about Adobe Spark on our last class, but I really liked Adobe Spark because it gives students another option to also kind of create their own video or even a presentation that they want to use, and it's different. So I also used Adobe Spark to create a sample work that students could do, just so that they would see the difference and they can just kind of play with it too and see which one they like better. So on this one, I did it a little bit different. I did like my senior quote. So students could, their message, their hidden message could be their senior quote. And so here would be the array of numbers that would be in the matrix. And with Adobe Spark, you can also change the template. And it gives a lot of different options to change the template. So I can click on create. They can use one from scratch, or they can also go onto the main page and just choose one and play with it and change it around. And you can work with the design, the colors, and doing layout. So this is the one I used. And on adding, they can also add icons to it. Let's see, I'm just gonna click there, and they should add an icon there if they wanted to also play with it and make it neat. And so to share it is also pretty easy. On the right hand side it says share. If you click on that, and if we go to publish, then it has a lot of different options to share this. I chose to do a link since I want students to collaborate and work together, and then they're also going to use Google Docs to kind of share everything that they've done, and it's an easy way for everybody to have access to it. So here you can also copy and just paste. So I also did Google Docs because I wanted to kind of put everything together. So I just went to Google Docs and I created a Google Doc that I wanted students to use and embed their links and embed their projects. So this is my name. I asked them what to put, and I just typed it up. So I left this blank just to show you. If I go on OneNote right now and I click on collaboration space, and I just use collaboration space because it's a good place for students to all have access to the Google Docs and share and collaborate together, just like a collaboration space should be. So when I click on the link, and I also just copied and pasted the link from the Google document. So in the Google document, if you go on the right hand side and click on share, here's the link, and I also just copied it, and I went to OneNote and I pasted it. And so I'm going to click on it, and if you notice, it takes me to that Google document where 1 and 2 are blank. So I'm going to go ahead and fill that in just to show you how the students can easily just type. And the only thing would be to just tell students to be careful because they can erase somebody else's work. So on number 1, the directions were to type in the tool that they used to create the project. Since I created these 2 samples, the first one was made using Canva, and the second one was made using Adobe Spark. And so students will have options to use one or the other. And on the right hand side it says type the name of the student whom you've decoded the message. This will kind of help me keep up with what students did, what their final project was, if they completed it, and who they're responding to, who they're going to use their project to decode their message. So for right now I'm just gonna put myself. Or I guess I should put Maria Mora since I asked them to put their name. And so if I go to OneNote, it automatically saves it, which I think it's really neat. If you go to OneNote again, it's the same link. I'm just going to click on it, and the changes should be fixed. Voila! So that's why I really liked using Google Docs too, because the students can collaborate, and it was a good way for me at least to add everything together that I wanted the students to do. So with OneNote, the other thing would be if you click on the students, I wanted to show you what it looks from a student's perspective too. If I click here, you notice that here's all the links or the pages that I added. It has the different tabs. This would be what they would see in their notebook, their class notes, their videos, things that I just played around and just to see how it would look like. And so It's just neat to see what they did because it's like I have access to their online notebook. So I'm also going to show you content library.